In today's episode, we're going to talk about my current favorite fibery YouTube channels, an update on giveaways, and a future giveaway that involves some charity. Note to self, set everything up well before I'm going to film because I'm just freaking hot. I gotta hydrate. Hey y'all, welcome to the Flash Your Knits YouTube channel. This is episode 3. If you endured episode 1 and 2, welcome back. If you're new, welcome. My name is Jen. This is where we're going to talk about some fun fibery things. Before we get into the FOs and the whips and whatnot, there's a few things I want to cover, starting with past giveaways. So I've had 2 giveaways so far. I've announced one winner, and the other winner is going to be announced in this video. And I realized I did not do a very good job of explaining how to claim your prize. So the way to claim your prize, if you win something that I give away on this channel, is you need to email me at flashyourknits@gmail.com. The reason for that is there's a lot of buttholes in the world, and I will never reach out to you directly and say, hey, you won, because there's too many people that can fake email addresses and all sorts of things and then try to take advantage of people. And we're not gonna be set up for that here. So you need to email me, and you need to email me from the Gmail account or the Google account that you used to comment on the video so that I can match the username to the comment. Hopefully that makes sense. So what I'm going to do in this episode, I'm going to re-announce the winner of the yarn journal to give that person another chance to claim the yarn journal. If by the next episode, no email has been received by me to claim it, I will draw another name and announce it in that next episode. So I tend to record the last weekend of the month. So far, this has kind of been the cadence, and then post like the first Tuesday or Wednesday in that first week of a month. So that's kind of your time frame. You've got about a month to reach out to me and let me know, hey, this is me, here's my address, so that I can ship these out to you. Hopefully that's clear. Later in the episode, I will announce the winners of re-announce the winner of the yarn journal, and then announce the winner of our tropical doodle deck. The next thing I want to talk about is also some giveaways, but in conjunction with Knit for Food. So every year there's a fundraiser called Knit for Food. It's not just knitting. It can be knitting or crochet and probably other fibery things. But basically you sign up and you create a team, which I've done. It's the Flash Your Knits team. And you're trying to raise money to donate to different organizations that provide food for those that can't afford it. I can't remember all the charities off the top of my head that benefit from this. I think Meals on Wheels, Feed America, and there's a couple others. If you go to the site that I link, it'll tell you which charities it's benefiting, and 100% of the fundraising does go to those charities. My goal is to raise $5,000. It'd be super cool if I could surpass that. But I figured I'd still set a fairly aggressive goal of $5,000. And the way it typically works is on April 11th, that's the date this year, I will be knitting for 12 hours. In addition to the standard knitting for 12 hours and trying to get people to donate, I wanted to sweeten the deal a little bit and offer some raffle prizes. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5 raffle prizes that are tiered based on how much you donate. So the way this will work is you go to the link in the description, make a donation, and screenshot it with the amount and your name and everything. Email it to me at flashyourknits@gmail.com, and you'll be entered into the raffle prize for that tier. And if you don't have the means to contribute anything, you could participate by setting up a team or joining an existing team and helping fundraise. So there are definitely ways to contribute without having to actually spend money. Okay, so what are the prizes? If you donate $10, I have 2 raffle prizes. So there will be 2 winners among the people that donate $10. These are both sock sets from Urth yarns. They're the Uneek sock. I have a pink and a purple. Well, pink and purple, and then pink and lighter pink. And then, there's a image of the self-striping. So these are self-striping kits, and they've actually taken the 100-gram skein and split it into 2 50-gram skeins so that you can have identical socks. So those are the options for $10 donations. And I totally lied. I think I have 6 raffle things. So if you donate $15, you will be entered into the raffle to win the Maker's Notebook by Making Treasures. I talked about this a little bit on a previous episode if you want to take a look. But it's a fun yarn journal. So that is the raffle prize for $15 donations. These are typically $50. So, contribute 15, maybe you get a $50 yarn journal. We're going to jump up to $30. If you contribute $30, you will be entered into the raffle to get this set of Bona yarn neon mini skeins. These are awesome for doodles, any type of color work, and it's going to be summertime soon, so who doesn't love a good neon in the summer? If you contribute $40 to Knit for Food, you can get, I'm not going to be able to hold all of these up, but I have 8 balls of the recycled yarn from We Are Knitters. This is 95% recycled cotton, 5% other fibers, and there are 210 yards in each ball. This would be great for a summer knit. The last one. If you contribute $50, you will be entered into the raffle to get 6 skeins of this Sonder yarn, Sunday Morning DK, which is 75% BFL, 25% Masham. And there are, oh my gosh, where is it? 245 meters, 268 yards per skein. There are 6 of them. This is an awesome moody colorway. It's the, I think the colorway is called Dream State. Yes, it is. And to go along with it, because this is very, very moody, very kind of shadow daddy, if you will. I'm also going to include this Colorpop, A Shadow of Secrets eyeshadow palette. I'll pop a picture of what the eyeshadow colors look like up on the screen because this is unopened and I don't want to open something that someone's going to put on their face. All right, that is my spiel for Knit for Food. If you're able to contribute, it would be greatly appreciated. I'll figure out something to do on April 11th because I think just sitting and knitting for 12 hours by myself is not as fun. So I might do something on social media. I've never done a live before. I might try it. Could be a disaster. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Okay, I have one other thing to talk about before we get into what you're actually probably here for, which is all the knitting stuff. I set up an Amazon storefront, and anything I make through that storefront this year will be donated to the Utah Food Bank. I actually set it up quite a while ago, and I've just never really shared it out, other than to people who I've taught to knit and crochet, and they've asked what type of crochet hooks should I get or what type of knitting needles should I get. And I kept emailing the same thing over and over, and I was like, I should just send them some links to things on Amazon. And I'm like, wait a minute, if Amazon's going to get money, I should get some money. So I put the list together. Everything in there, they're all items I've actually purchased with my own money, not necessarily from Amazon, but I have purchased them from somewhere and I have used them and I actually like them. There's always the question of like, oh man, supporting Amazon, it's this giant out there in the world and it's better to support local yarn stores. So if you go to my Amazon storefront and you see something you want, it's not going to hurt my feelings. Go look for it somewhere else, support a small business. But if you do purchase something through that storefront, the money will, I don't even actually know like what percentage I get or anything like that. But any money that comes to me from that storefront will go straight to the Utah Food Bank. All right, should we read some comments? Amber Morris says, I love how normal you are. I also like your humor. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Amber. But just give it time. You might not have that same opinion of normalcy later. So Becky Murphy asked, what is a yarn cozy? And I'm like, that's a good question. I don't know if everybody knows what yarn cozies are or uses them. So this is a yarn cozy. It's basically a stretchy tube that keeps your yarn from, going all over the place. So it just keeps things tidy in your bag. But yeah, you can actually make them yourself. There's knitting patterns to like knit your own yarn cozy to wrap like yarn inception. But yeah, super useful. I love them. I use them all the time, especially on projects where I've got multiple colors going on so that I at least don't have the tails flopping all over the place in addition to the working yarn that can get all tangled up. So I love those. All right, let's see. Shannon Wagner said, Kevin and Ray of Needles at the Ready mentioned you, and I'm so glad they did. You're doing great. Can I tell the amount of comments about, oh, Kevin and Ray or Needles at the Ready mentioned your podcast, and I about crap my pants because I freaking love those two so much. I have been watching them since I knew that YouTube podcast or that knitting podcasts were even a thing. And so it's really weird to have people that you've watched forever be like, oh, hey, go check out this Flash Your Knits lady on YouTube. So thanks, Kevin and Ray. I heart you both. And I have to say also to Kevin and Ray, in addition to a thanks, that it's your fault that I spent about $90. We'll talk about that later. Courtney Hareen, I'm probably butchering that, my apologies, said, I love your podcast. Your love of football and sparkles is awesome. If you told 18-year-old me that I was going to like sparkles and the color pink as an adult, I would have told you that you are a big fat liar and to get out of my face. But here we are. Nick Knits says, and suddenly I'm convinced the Broncos are going to win the Super Bowl in 2027. Yes. Let's talk about some finished objects. I have 4 that I'm going to talk about. One of them is not recent. I actually finished it in 2024, but I want to show it to you to kind of demonstrate how far some of the kits that you can buy can go. I purchased the Haunted Rose Garden collection from Moonglow Yarn Co., and I'll pop up a picture. And it's 5 skeins of, I think they're 115 gram skeins. And I was able to make 2 projects out of it. So the first one I finished, like I said, in 2024. This is the Shift shawl. Night Shift shawl by Andrea Mowry. She's a beaut. Very fall colors, or for my UK friends, very autumny colors. But yeah, I love this pattern. This was the second one that I've made. And I kind of fly through it because it's mosaic knitting. It goes really fast. I really, really liked how it turned out. I don't typically wear warm colors, but I do wear this one in the fall. So I actually kept this one. Fun factor, 10 out of 10. Loved making it. I will make more, absolutely. Let's see. It took about 665 yards total. Now the kit is 200. Well, I actually don't know if this one's 216 because it's 5 skeins. So she does adjust her pricing based on the number of skeins. Around $200. It took me a little over a week to knit this. And as far as flash it or stash it, flash it, absolutely. I've worn it several times. So I actually kept this one for myself. With the leftover yarn from that kit, I was able to complete an Infinity Doodle Cowl, which is a pattern by Jamie Lomax from Pacific Knit Co. I keep looking down, by the way, because that's where my notes are, because I'm not going to remember all this. So fun factor, 9 out of 10. I would give it a 10, except my hands kept cramping. So that made it a little less fun, but I freaking love these. I've made a lot of doodle cowls. So this one is a mashup of some autumn doodles and there's some haunted doodles in there. So I basically grabbed anything that I liked that made me think of the fall. Are you ready? This thing, I love it. I love it. Oh my gosh. Look at the owls and the apples. I'll just rotate through here so you can see. We got candy apples, we got acorns, mushrooms, the foxes, some gourds, sheep. Oh, I just love it. I love how it turned out. I usually hate brown and orange together. Sorry, Cleveland Brown fans, but ew, gross. But for some reason, I'm loving it on here. So anyway, this is my autumn doodle. They're very cozy and warm. They're practically quadruple layered with all the floats since it's a tube. But yeah, these are awesome. And I love them because I love this too. Don't get me wrong. But when I have this wrapped around me and it's windy, again, we got things flapping in the breeze and stuff. So this is just nice and warm and very cute. So if I go to Rhinebeck this year, this might be my Rhinebeck doodle. This took 635 yards. So even with these two projects, I still had like a teeny bit of each color left that I'll probably put in a scrappy blanket or something. The cost of this project was free. If you don't know yet, the way I do my math is the cost went into this one and then there were leftovers, and that makes this cowl free. Let's see, I started on December 29th. I finished it on February 23rd. And would I knit it again? Yes, because I've made several of these. I love them. Flash it or stash it. Flash it big time. I mean, if you wear something like this in public, you have to be ready for people to want to talk to you. So introverts beware. You're going to get compliments on it. I am actually an introvert, but I'm an introvert who will happily talk to people about knitting. Oh, and if I didn't say it, that's Merino DK. So it's DK weight yarn. My third FO is the Weekend Hat by Petite Knit. And when I say the Weekend Hat by Petite Knit, I mean sort of. I basically used the cast on count and the decreases from the pattern. But because I didn't read the pattern properly before I made assumptions as to the construction, this is not actually the result of the Weekend Hat pattern. So if you've made that hat, you know that you knit for a bit and then you actually join the brim and then you keep going. Well, I didn't do that. I just basically cast on and I knit until it's time to decrease, and then I just folded it up. So it's Weekend Hat-ish. Fun factor, 2 out of 10. This is 1x1 ribbing, and it never ends. Oh, it was painful. But the outcome is very cute. Now I like to fold it up a little more because I'm not super into the condom hats, but for people who are, it's pretty cute. I don't have it on straight, but you get the point. So I do like the finished product. I will probably make more, but I'm going to need a break because my hands need to recover from this 2x2, this 1x1 ribbing the whole way. This one is probably going to be gifted. So flash it or stash it. I will stash it, aka put it in my gift knit stash. I used Santa Scarn Double Sunday. It took about 225 yards, so about 2 balls. I had a little bit left at the end, but pretty much took about 2 balls. And I started it on January 8th, and I finished it on February 16th. So again, would I knit it again? Yes, but I will complain about it the whole time. All right. My last whip is not a knitted or crocheted item. In 2024, I went to Maryland Sheep and Wool, and I went with my friend Whitney. And she is a terrible influence because she encourages me to spend my money. She is not the friend who's going to say, maybe you shouldn't buy that. I was there and I bought a Daedalus Starling spinner. In fact, this is backwards, so I can't ever point the right way, but it's right there on my shelf. I started spinning some yarn. Now, keep in mind, I don't tend to fully read instructions and I kind of jump into things and learn along the way. So I started this skein of yarn in April of 2024. Then we moved, so there was a pause on it. We had to pack up and everything, and we moved to our new house. And I picked it back up. I've done it a little bit over time. So I finally finished it. And this is my very first ever skein of hand spun yarn. And it is very thick and thin. It's definitely lumpy and bumpy. And I'm not mad about it. I learned a ton. So basically, all of my learning from the very beginning to now is in this skein, which is kind of cool. So I probably will never make anything out of it. I'll keep it as just like the very first one that I made, so I can compare others to it along the way. It is, let's see, it turned out to be, at least this bunch of it is 149 grams, 248 yards. And it ranges between DK and Aran weight. And this was made out of, let's see, Greenwood Fiberworks BFL in the colorway Horizon. So also another very autumny color. It took 2.5 years, but not solid 2.5 years. I finished it on February 12th. The spin type, I don't know. I think I don't know what they're all called. The last half of the spinning, I think, was like it's a worsted spin, but I think it was long draw. But I also had some times where I was doing this short, I don't know what it's called, but you're just doing these little short stroke. That can get perverted. I have no idea what it costs. I don't remember because I bought it a while ago. And then this is all that would like fit on the bobbin. So I did have a little extra. So there's this little mini skein here. So I might make something out of this. I don't know, but this one's going to stay untouched. I kind of want to just have it as a comparison of the first one I finished. So it'll just go on the shelf and show off all of its pretty autumn colors. Let's move on to whips. I have a half finished object, or a half object, a hoe, if you will. I finished one of my socks. This is out of that Lana Grossa sock yarn that is in German that I can't pronounce. But I talked about it in the last episode if you want more details on the yarn. But I finished this sock. I guess I don't need to hold the bag up too. So I finished that sock. That's how it turned out. Super cute, self-patterning sock yarn. And then I wanted it finished for this episode, but it is what it is. So now we are here. Hopefully I'll finish that one by the next episode. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. We'll see if I can control myself and stop casting on new stuff. But I would like to get that one finished soon because those will be fun to wear around the house. I don't like to wear knitted socks in my shoes. Feels weird. But I love having hand knit socks for around the house. All right. Let's talk All the Lights cardigan. The pattern is beautifully written. I've talked about this before. The pattern is amazing. It requires an immense amount of concentration, and I've only gotten this far. And I said, you know what? I'm going to make this my 20 minutes a day of knitting. I mentioned that in the last episode. I did that twice. And then I'm just like, you know what? I do not have the brain cells after work to sit down and concentrate on a complex cable and lace pattern. So I'm going to frog it because I love this yarn so much, and something must be made out of this yarn. I want my red sweater, but it's just not going to be All the Lights at this time. Maybe later, but All the Lights, rest in peace. You're getting frogged for now, and this yarn will become something that I can work on that requires a little less concentration. Next is my step-by-step cardigan by Florence Miller. I did make some progress on this. Let's see. This is the back, and I made it that far continuing the back, and then I was like, okay, I might be in a yarn chicken situation. And I still have the sleeves, I have the body, and I've got the button band to do. So I skipped over to a sleeve, and I finished a sleeve. That is where we're at with this. I have this one sleeve done. I'm going to do the other sleeve, and then I'll finish the body and try to estimate the best I can to make sure I have enough left over for the button band. But this is probably going to use all of this Tweety yarn that I have. This is going to be my camping jacket. It's going to be very oversized, but I love having knits when I go camping, but I don't want my stuff to smell like campfire. So I need a good dedicated cardigan that can be campfirey. And so that is what this one is going to be. The last two whips I talked about in the last episode, and I have made little to no progress. One was the float shawl. I don't know why I just didn't pick it up. I love that pattern and it's very easy to do, but I just kept getting distracted by other things. And then my Broncos doodle cowl that I was making, I all of a sudden was like, I want the throwback colors on one side and the current colors on another side. And then remembered Jamie has created a reversible doodle cowl that's different from the infinity cowl. So I basically ripped it all back, recast it on, and I've barely started it, but it's going to be a reversible cowl with Depending on what Broncos gear I'm wearing, I can either have the traditional, like the current color side out, or I can have the throwback colors. I'm not sure if I'll make a ton of progress on that project right now because there's other things that I'm wanting to work on more. I just want to make sure I have it done before football season starts. I have 2 new whips since last we met, because I can't help myself but to just keep casting on more things. But I frogged a project, so I'm feeling all right about it. The first one, I want to use up one of my advents, so I'm just doing a bounce blanket by Tin Can Knits. So we're in the reds, but there will be 24 different stripes on this. I cast on 189 stitches because I don't like to be creative and go figure everything out for myself. So I just kind of copy what my friends do. And that's the stitch count that Whitney cast on. And I've actually seen one of her bounce blankets in person to know like what size it is. So just working on these, probably, a stripe a week or something. I don't know. It's slow going, but it's fun and it lets me use up my advent colors. And my last whip, which I just cast on last night because I'm very behind, this is meant to be a friend make along. Whitney and I were talking about how to use some of the kits that she has. And I have quite a bit of that yarn in my stash. And we kept talking about a stripy sweater. So we chose the stripe hype. She has already joined in the round. So she has a YouTube channel as well, and I will link that below. But her progress, man, she's flying. So I'm like, I better get going. So far, I have a cream stripe and a purple stripe. She's doing hers out of her Mountain Meadow color kit, and I'm doing the Lovebird Lane. So I'm going to try to hold these up. But these are the 2 brighter colors. And then, there we go. So it'll be all of these fun pink and purpley colors. I'm very excited about it. I forgot to say who the pattern is by. It's Veronica Lindberg, who is Kuto Vakika. And I've never made a pattern by her before, so I'm excited to try it out. I am making the size extra large. The lighting is definitely changing and I'm fighting the sun, so I'm kind of rushing through this because I don't want to be sitting here having a chat in the dark. I could turn my lights on, but those are terrible. I purchased some things. So I mentioned earlier, I believe, that, Kevin and Ray did a shout out for my podcast and I had a lot of people come over from there. And I mentioned that they cost me money. And it's because in one of their episodes, one of the most recent ones, they talked about a bag that they bought. And so yeah, Kevin and Ray, it's your fault that I spent this money and I'm not mad about it. This is the lunch tote by, I don't know if it's Maika or Micah, but this thing is the perfect dimensions to hold a nice big project. And I am a sucker for a chartreuse and dark blue. It's one of my favorite color combos. So this is about to be a project bag for one of my new projects. And then because I couldn't help myself, I also got the little pouch. What am I going to put in this? I have no idea, but it matched. And who doesn't need a pouch? Very well made, very sturdy. Like this is some good, I don't know if it's technically canvas or what, but very sturdy. So this thing feels like it could take a beating, but I have not put it through the paces yet. So we'll see how it holds up, but I imagine it's going to do very well. At the end of 2025, I made the decision that I was not going to do any yarn subscriptions this year because I have enough stuff. I have enough yarn. I don't need anything new. Let's use what we have. Okay. January rolls around and one of my very, very favorite yarn dyers, who I have not talked about yet on this podcast, I don't think, posted her clubs for this year. And so I signed up for 2 of them. I signed up for the Yarnaceous Fibers Color Club. Every month you get a set of colors and you get 5 20-gram minis. So I have January already and I have February. So I'm signed up for this and there will be a project that I'm specifically going to make out of this. And then she also has another club. It's the Parks and Fossils Variegated Club. And I opted for the Bronto DK sock set. So every month I get a skein and a mini skein. I cannot tell you how much I love Yarnaceous variegated yarn. Maggie is the owner and dyer, and she has a style that I don't even need to know who's posting the photo. I can see it and I know it's her. I can't explain it. She's got a vibe and it's beautiful. So this was the January kit. Absolutely gorgeous. And then I just got February, I think yesterday. Is that not freaking amazing? I love this. So this, I'll get one of these every month this year, and then I'll get the Color Club. I wanted to make more blankets. I loved the, I'm always pointing in the wrong direction because this is not mirrored, but I loved this blanket so much, and I want to make other types of blankets that are similar. So for the variegated club, my plan is to do the earthen, is it Hygge? Hygge? Hygge. The Earthen Hygge Burst Hexie Blanket by Not a Crawl Crochet. I'll put a picture up on the screen. This yarn will look absolutely amazing with that pattern. So that is what these will become. I need to get these wound and get my granny squares going because I'd like to wrap them up at the end of December or early January and have 2 new awesome blankets. For the Color Club, I am doing another version of this, but instead of the sunburst granny square, I'm doing the solid granny square. So basically same blanket, different granny square. If you have never had the joy of knitting with Yarnaceous yarn, you're missing out. I'm not trying to say you should go spend your money, but if you're going to go spend your money, it's a good option. She's got good stuff. Okay, what else? Oh, the third subscription is I did a sucker for those doodle cards, and so I did the monthly doodle club through Pacific Knit Co. to get those every month. Oh, another thing with the clubs through Yarnaceous, you get each month you'll get your skein and your mini skein, and then you get your you get a little stitch marker, and then you get the inspiration card for that colorway. The last pattern I want to talk about is another future whip. So I've got my 2 blankets that I know I want to make out of Yarnaceous fibers. And then there is a hat that I saw. And I'm like, why is this thing not blasted all over Instagram? And maybe it is, and I'm just not in those circles. I don't know. But I have never seen it. It is such a beautiful hat. It is called the Blomstra hat, which is Swedish for bloom. And I'm going to make it out of this Moondrake yarn. I'm going to make the main color the blue, and the blooms are going to be this lichen color. I think it's gorgeous, and I just think more people should be talking about it because it looks amazing. Now let's move on to the topic of the episode, which is my current favorite fibery YouTube channels. I try to have a variety of types of channels just so it's mixed up a little bit and it's interesting. So currently these are my favorites, meaning that I'm either like anticipating an episode or when one gets posted, I'm like, ooh, I need to go watch that. I do love hearing about FOs and whips and all the stuff that I also talk about, but sometimes having a little bit of a different spin on things is kind of interesting. I've noticed that I have a preference. I tend to prefer YouTube channels or podcasts where there's a duo, probably because you can have good banter and it seems more conversational. So when I made this list, I'm like, oh, that must definitely be a preference that I have. I also like when someone's just really chill. You can tell they're really being themselves and they seem like they'd be a good time. So here are my current favorites. Deborah Knits. I love her approach. Her channel is unique. She gets into history of knitting and books, and she dives deep into topics. I really appreciate the research that she puts into her episodes. Also, she has fabulous hair. Needles at the Ready. I'm not saying that just because they shouted me out. I genuinely look forward to those episodes. I love listening to those guys just chat about knitting. And it's very nostalgic for me because they're one of the first channels that I really got into as a knitter. So they've also cost me a bit of money. These are not in any particular order, by the way. The next one is Charm City Unicorns. So this is Shayla from Black Pearl Magic and her friend Heather. And I freaking adore these two. Have a good time when I watch their episodes. And I feel like they are just like, I love that they are unapologetically pink and sparkly. And they knit things that I wouldn't typically knit in colors that I wouldn't typically use. And I don't know. I love it. I think it's a really fun channel. Another one is the Black Sheep Knitter. Her name is Sarah. I believe she lives in Wisconsin. I love her episodes. She just talks about the stuff she's working on. She seems so personable and somebody that you just love to sit down and have a chat with. And I feel like she and I could be friends in real life. And I just love it. She doesn't post as frequently as a lot of others, which makes it even more exciting when a new episode comes out. But I think she's the cutest, and I love the projects that she picks. And I've been introduced to new types of yarn through her channel, and I just think she's a great time. Knit Cheek. It's just such a cozy, inviting channel. And I love the content. I love that there's episodes about different types of things. I actually really enjoy the aesthetic of her background and things like that. Very relaxing. She just seems like she'd be a pleasure to be around. And I really like how she delivers the information on her channel. Let's see. Allie Makes Everything. I love some stats and she's got them. I have learned a lot actually about the YouTube space and what to expect from watching her channel. Very informative, very well done, very professional. She has graphs and charts, and I love how she breaks down the cost per wear of her garments, and like it's unique. I haven't seen another channel that's similar to her channel, and so I really do like that one. Her latest episode that came out about how much money she made on YouTube, amazing. I love it. I also love Making Conversations. Jen is the host of that, and same name, so gotta love it. But it's like an interview style podcast. So she's interviewed Andrea Mowry and some other folks. I love it. She'll go to a fiber festival. It's just nice to like hear from designers that you purchase things from. And I don't see other channels doing what she's doing. And I thought it was really unique, and I really enjoy watching her content. It's also a very professional channel. She seems to really know what she's doing. She's got good film quality, good sound. She's really good at interviewing people. So I really enjoy her channel. Table 10 and the Grocery Girls. So another couple of duo channels. These are some sisters. So Jody and Tracy for Grocery Girls, and then Rachel and Renee for Table 10. And I love the sisterly banter. And again, those are a couple of channels where it's just a really good hang, you know? And they also cost me money. So thanks. And last but not least is the Moonglow Yarn Co. YouTube channel. Now, am I biased? Yes, because Whitney is one of my very close friends. And she lives 8 hours away. And so every time an episode posts, I'm like, ooh, I get to see my friend. So I really enjoy her channel, not just because she's my friend or someone who I purchase a lot of yarn from, but she'll show you what she makes out of her yarn so that you can see what you can do with these color kits that she has. And then she also does some sewing. So like she's a really great talent. She's a talented sewist. Yeah, I think she's overall a pretty great person, and I love watching her videos, and they're bright and colorful, and she just has a very happy, glowy personality, and she is like that in real life. So those are my top favorite YouTube channels for knitting right now. I have a couple of bonus ones that are not knitting related. So I have been loving the Star Talk channel. So that's Neil deGrasse Tyson, and it's just all fun, nerdy space stuff. If I had a science teacher like him when I was younger, I guarantee you I would be some kind of scientist right now. The way he explains complicated things, and he's like so excited about it. Like I love it. I love learning all this cool space stuff. And then the other one is Good Hang with Amy Poehler, because I love Amy Poehler. It's a very happy, upbeat podcast where she interviews celebrities and stuff. And so if you haven't been able to check that out, I recommend it. It's a good time. Okay, let's wrap up with the giveaway winners. So we're going to restate who won the journal. Daniela Knits won the yarn journal. So Daniela Knits, if you see this, email me at flashyourknits@gmail.com with your address, and I will get this shipped out to you. And then the winner of the Tropical Doodle deck is Kiwi Jennifer Knits. Congratulations. Kiwi Jennifer Knits, same thing. Email me at flashyourknits@gmail with your address, and I will get this shipped out to you. That is all I have for this episode. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you in the next one.